Meet David de Hoxer and his spiral separators, 3 giant concrete tanks on the seashore at Newhaven, East Sussex, which hide a miracle of modern technology designed to revolutionise the treatment of sewage. 10 years ago, when this plant was built, it was a world's first, designed by David and trialled by his employer, Southern Water.
I took my idea to the directors of Southern Water, and they were quite interested in the idea, and they allowed me to build the first trial plant around about 1993. There was then about 4 years of treatment trials before they were ready to look at designing the first production plant.
We did spend some £2 million in the research and development of this project, and our inventor David de Hoxer has been through this over many years beforehand. Sooner or later somebody had to try it, and there was no real problem in getting it to work down here. We were really keen to introduce it, and that's exactly what we did. So this is the first of the spiral separators in the country.
The traditional way of dealing with sewage is to separate the liquid and solids in large subsurface tanks that allow sludge to settle on the bottom, where it's extracted through underground pipes. It's a slow process that can't be speeded up, requires large areas of land, and it's smelly. David's system goes up rather than out, taking up far less space, and it cuts out one stage in the conventional sludge treatment. It's completely sealed, so there are no unpleasant odours. It's also versatile, adapting to several different uses, both in sewage treatment and the cleaning of drinking water before it's distributed.
This is about 3 times, or requires only a third the space of the next rival technology, and also it produces a thicker sludge. So it's a great innovation in that sense. I have designed it for various duties, including primary treatment at a water supply works, final treatment at a wastewater works, and probably this duty here, which is primary treatment at a sewage works, is the duty we've used in Southern Water, but used as a waterworks clarifier or as a final settler at a sewage works is probably a greater use worldwide. There's a greater call for it worldwide.
Like all good ideas, the de Hoxer spiral separator is deceptively simple in principle, although more complex in its actual design. The concrete towers are filled with a conical arrangement of metal plates which rotate. The untreated sewage is pumped in at the top, and a combination of friction and centrifugal force separates most of the solids from the liquid. The secret is the massive surface area of the interleaved metal plates. It uses about the same amount of energy as a large conventional sewage treatment plant, but it's quicker.
There are other technologies that are small, but not as small as spiral separators, and in addition the spiral separator produces a thick sludge. The thickened sludge allows us to send the sludge onto the second stage of processing directly without a thickening stage.
Being right behind the main beach at Newhaven, Southern Water is particularly concerned that its sewage treatment plant is environmentally friendly, especially as the final outflow from the plant is pumped into the waters of the English Channel through a 3-mile-long outfall pipe. Susan Phillip is Southern Water's senior process scientist.
It goes through the spiral separators, and after a few hours what happens is this is the byproduct that comes off. So when this settles through the spiral separators, this is the byproduct. It comes out about 3%, and it goes through a different stream. And this product, once it's settled, it's a clear decant that comes off the top, which is the food that goes into the aeration lanes. And from the aeration lanes, it goes through 2 to 4 sludge ages, and then the final product that you have is the clean effluent that comes out in the final tanks, and that is what goes out into the long sea outfall.
The solids that remain after drying are taken to a second stage treatment plant nearby, where they undergo a remarkable transformation. The Southern Water plant at Ford near Arundel is a state-of-the-art complex that ensures the waste products from Newhaven are not just thrown away. Sewage contains a lot of useful residues once all the dangerous organisms have been destroyed. The first stage is to cook the sewage in a high-temperature digester, which removes most of the germs and viruses. The residue is then dried again and mixed with a binding polymer. Along the way, methane gas produced by the digester is siphoned off.
At the sludge treatment center, we blend it and we put it through an anaerobic digester, which is at about 32 to 35 degrees Celsius, and it stays there for about 12 to 14 days. It has an anaerobic breakdown. Byproduct of that is biogas, which is methane, and we use the methane to run the site to warm up the digesters. And then this is when it comes out of the digester, it's caked again, and then we put it onto a cake bay, and then we use it as fertilizers.
The result is a sterile granular material which is bagged up and sold as fertilizer to local farmers under the Best Way label through another company called Viridor. The so-called Best Way cake is a natural substitute for artificial fertilizers, which are rising rapidly in price. The demand for Best Way cake is now so great, Southern Water has pre-sold its entire output. The production of biogas is also exceeding expectations. The whole Dehoxar process has now come to the attention of other countries. Japan in particular has been trialling spiral separators under the watchful eye of their inventor.
We do have 2 international licensees, one in the UK and one in Japan, and I have been over to Japan to introduce the technology to them. We have had various international inquiries from several countries, but so far the only overseas plant that's been commissioned is in Japan.
It's always nice to be at the front of something, and I think with something as innovative as this, and something which takes a 3% footprint in the land take, is very, very significant, bearing in mind that we're always looking to develop and take up less and less land in what's becoming a very expensive part of the scheme.
With sewage effluent pouring constantly into the sea from its New Haven plant, Southern Water is especially sensitive to maintaining the highest possible quality.
Between May and October, we have beach samples being taken by the Environmental Agency, and so it's paramount that we have the best quality final effluent that goes out, because they do the fecal coliforms and total coliforms. So, passing is critical to us. It's very, very important to us.
After 20 years of living with his idea, David Dehoxar is not only proud that his work has been acknowledged as a significant British engineering achievement, he's also proud that the advances in technology have brought environmental benefits to locals wherever his separators have been built.
Conventional settlement is quite a green technology anyway. There is no increased power or fuel costs with this over the conventional plant. The complexity is all in the manufacture, so it's a more complex device to build, but having built it, the running costs are almost exactly the same as a conventional tank. The reduction, or the thicker sludge, which eliminates one stage of processing, does make it slightly cheaper than a conventional plant. I'm very pleased with what's happened. It's one of the greatest achievements in my career, and I have done other things along the way as well, but I look at this as the one thing that I feel that's my contribution to society.
We're always looking to develop this technology, and I'm sure that any further inquiries that we would have would meet with our full support, and I'm sure people would be most welcome to come here, see what we've done, see how it works, so we can see how we could help those in the future as well.
Bathers on New Haven Beach and many farmers using Best Way cake on their crops may not be aware of the debt they owe to David and his spiral separators, but the inventor isn't resting on his laurels. He's already hard at work designing the next, even better separator. Meanwhile, Southern Water is investigating whether it can use the excess biogas produced by its plant at Ford to power its fleet of vehicles.